Hi, this is Bill. I'm in Euless. I'm here with a congressional candidate for District 24,
Yeah.
Kim Olson. And we're going to do a lightning round.
Yay.
And we're going to find out more about you in the next 60 seconds than your whole book.
Okay.
Okay? Here we go. Morning or night owl?
Night owl.
Okay. Water, soft drink, tea, coffee, or beer? Or something harder. Because in your book, you're drinking other stuff.
Yeah. Well, I like beer with water chasers. How's that?
Okay, I like that. Hot dogs, hamburgers, steak or lobster?
None.
Okay, very good. So you didn't have a hot dog during 4th of July?
No.
Okay, I like that. Dress shoes, sneakers, sandals, or barefoot?
Ooh, sandals.
Sandals, okay. Classical, country, rock and roll, pop, or hip hop? I can't see you as hip hop, but
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
What's your favorite rock and roll song?
Oh, We Are the Champions.
Really?
Yep.
All right, there's nothing wrong with that.
Bohemian.
That's on my playlist too. That's on my playlist. All right, here's the hardest one.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys,
Yeah.
Houston Texans, Rangers, Astros, Spurs, or Mavs?
Okay, so Cowboys and Rangers
Okay.
and Mavs. Sorry, I'm a hometown girl. So.
All right, that's what you just earned a lot of votes right now. I hope you're. All right, how would your friends describe it? One word that your friends would describe you.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, let's think. How would they describe me? Maybe imposing.
Imposing.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. How about your children, Katie and Keegan?
Well, I kind of rule the roost. They would say that out loud.
Okay,
So,
rule
yeah.
the roost.
Yep,
Okay.
rule the roost.
And how would you just? How about a word that would describe yourself?
Actually, I'm funny.
You're funny. Okay.
I'm funny as hell. Just ask me.
I'm sure you are. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about, I guess, your early days, and we're going to talk about Iraq, and we're going to talk about your candidacy.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I love this one story about you're on the beach, you're trying to figure out, and your mom, I guess, thumps you. Is that the
Yeah,
word you use?
cold cocks me.
Okay. Is that, how do you say that?
Cold cock.
Is that what it's called? See, I'm not originally from Texas. I'm a Yankee.
Yeah.
So, I get the feeling from reading your book that you're tough, right? Where do you think you got that from? Do you think you got it from mom or dad? Do you think it was things that have happened to you?
Well, I make a joke. I was, this lighthearted child until about the age of 2.5, and then my sisters were born, and they were twins.
Okay.
So I had to compete with two people at the same time. And being the oldest, you're always an overachiever anyway. But I had two that I had to compete with. But as far as being tough, I think maybe the word I'd like to use is driven.
Okay.
Instead.
Okay.
And because I chose certain career fields like the military to go into, it required you to have a pretty strong outer shell in order to be a trailblazer and open doors for others, that you had to have a pretty tough exterior.
Right.
Although my husband would say I'm soft and mushy on the inside,
Right.
but tough on the outside. Sound like a Christmas cookie or something, or a piece of candy. But the idea is that, the persona that you present exterior is maybe different than you see me now as a grandma with my little grandson.
You have
I do, and I'm disgustingly in love. I mean,
really?
you talk about a mush ball. You get that baby around me, and it's, oh, honey.
How old?
He is 9 months.
Oh, very
9
good.
months.
Is that Katie or Keegan? Huh?
That's Keegan. My son has
Okay, very good.
the first grandson.
Okay. Because it seemed like driven's a good word, because it seemed like when I was researching that when you first went into the military and there was some problems, you went to the IG, Colonel Rush,
Yeah.
and you filed a complaint.
Yeah.
So there seemed like there's something that, like inequity or fairness.
Yeah,
in
that's
you.
a good way to describe it, Bill. Yeah. It's just, I remember going in, and remember, I'm a whole lot more mature than I was at 21, right? And I go skipping down to this guy's office, all full of, indignation that this is just not fair.
Right.
I didn't think in my head, well, I'm going to open these doors for women to eventually fly in combat and become 4-star generals. It was, at the moment, in my world, it wasn't fair, and it just simply was not. And to his credit, when I presented my case and a logical look, sir, this isn't fair, I tested as well. The only reason I didn't get chosen was because I was a woman. I did better than the men that were applying, and this is just not fair. To which he said, well, let us look into it. And again, to his credit, he said, you're right, it's not. So let's change the policy to make it fair for you and everybody behind you. And I think that's a key, especially when you're running for office, is you got to get policies fixed in order to have equity and social justice and the things that we're trying to do, especially in this 2020 race.
Now, did you get that need for fairness from your parents that, hey, Kim, you stand up for you?
That's
Do you
a
think-
good question.
Was it from mom or dad, or did you?
So-
or you were trying to get that. You had those two sisters.
Yeah, it was like détente all the time
Yeah,
with my two
exactly.
sisters, but 3 girls. No, I think where it came from is my parents were Midwestern raised, born and raised. My mother on a farm, my dad in rural Illinois. And both my parents worked, which was kind of unusual for that time frame, in the 50s. My mom went to college first in her family. And so to watch that, and then at a young age I lost my biological father. And I watched my mom take on 4 kids and use her education to support us and then send us to college. And she was basically my greatest role model on how a woman holds her family together, being the nucleus of family, how a woman who has an education can support her family and be the role model for girls and the boys in the family, and how she really was focused on holding us together as a family, and then, as I'm repeating myself, but being that role model for me, that a woman should normally, and I would always espouse this when I talk to women, have the capacity to care for themselves, because you just never know what life's going to hand you. And it may or may not be of your fault at all, which is what happened to my mom.
With being from the Midwest, sometimes maybe they're not able to express. Was she able to express to you about how proud she is and how much she cared about you, or was she not able to do that?
No, she did. My dad was kind of she was the one who held the family together. She was the very disciplinary, strict, and it was my dad, my biological dad, was the fun, clown, go get, have a great time with us. And so when he left the family, she moved from being the wife, and the mother, and she had to be the sole supporter. So my guess is, in her world, she had to shift and take on the roles of both a mom and a dad, and so she ruled the roost. So that's kind of, I blame everything on my mom. It's my mom's fault I am the way I am. But she had to, in order for us to make it as a single mom in that day and age. And you got to remember, in the early 70s, we had just got the Family Act passed, so she could own her own home. She could open a bank account. She didn't need her dad or her husband's approval. So this wasn't that long ago. And then because her generation allowed Title IX to come through the college system, my sissies and I played college ball. I played volleyball for Ohio State, my OSU, and my sissy played for OU. And so we could go to college on scholarships and get our education. And then the backside of the Title IX, which were a bunch of women in the early 80s that entered the workforce. And we went into the military, we went into law and medicine and all these non-traditional career fields. And by golly, I got a sis that's in law and a sister was in the executives of basically medical systems. And then I went in the military. So it worked. My mom's generation made that happen for us. And bear with me a second, Bill, I'm going to tie a bow around this. So I feel a huge responsibility to be that for the next generation. I stand on the shoulders of my mom's generation, and I'm ready to put those shoulders out and let women and men stand on my shoulders so they can do what their talents allow them to do.